There's also an ethical component to this now as well, isn't there, with code? Like you mentioned earlier, making programs safer.
That's right, yeah. I mean, a big part is ethics. And again, something we teach on courses. I guess the most recent things I've been looking at is how we can use computers to help make the world better. So,
is that the one with United Nations?
Yes. So one of the big pushes, again, it's been sort of 20 years now, but it's still maybe not as visible sometimes, is sustainable development. Again, we're over a decade into what was called the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and they were the 17 goals trying to make the world a better place. So we're looking at how we can do that. I'm also quite involved with the British Computer Society, and they look at how we can use IT for good, and the international body, the Association of Computing Machinery. I'm also on their advisory committee about computer science for good, and look at how we can take computer science and the technologies around us and maybe address world problems like poverty, hunger, health. So I've been looking at apparently teaching that. So up to how Owen and Ethan and Anthony at those points, probably Megan at some point, we teach them about, yes, how to write software, yes, how to build systems, how to solve things, but also how do we make useful things. That's what John looks a lot at as well. How do we find problems that need solving and make the world better? So that's really been driving me, I suppose, for the last 3 or 4 years, is pushing things like using, again, software engineering to build better health software systems, creating reliable systems so we know that a computer system won't fail and kill somebody. We can control what it does, manage it effectively. Do things like education as well. So again,
do you try and help people kind of think more sustainable? So, I know it's a thing in code that we can actually be more sustainable by writing more efficient code.
That's right, yeah, exactly that. So one of the things people think about is that carbon footprint of what we do. So as humans, all we do has an energy cost. Computers have a big energy cost. So yeah, if you write a better algorithm, going back to the point about spaghetti code, if you're writing something for the cloud to be used by millions of users, millions of times, it's 50% more efficient. That's saving a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And energy currently is still a lot of it's made by carbon fuels. So if you can make better code, you can avoid that.
There's also an ethical component to this now as well, isn't there, with code? Like you mentioned earlier, making programs safer.
That's right, yeah. I mean, a big part is ethics. And again, something we teach on courses at Hull is about the ethical, legal, social, professional aspects of computer science. Partly that's because our accrediting body, British Computer Society, require that. But also I think we should do it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's like the car thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like, if you've got a car driving down the road and a person comes out with a pram, should the car, and there's a cyclist on the other side, which one should it take out? There's no option here. You have to take one of them out. Those conundrums are what we're trying to solve, aren't they, right now?
Yeah, again, if you may remember, in one of the lectures we do that exact example.
The morality machine.
Yeah, morality machine. You remember it as well. So there was, again, a university in America set up a code site where you can go through these moral questions. So we have this example of a road system. It shows you it, those scenarios of people in the road. You're told the car can't veer off completely. It's got to hit somebody. Who would you pick to hit? And you vote. And again, we've looked at how far different age groups, different genders of people, different groups pick different groups to hit.
Again, we shouldn't laugh, but you mean...
No, it is, but
from a
serious
theoretical
question.
point of view.
Yeah.
The trolley problem in the Monday lecture. It was like, oh God, what am I doing?
It's like if we're going to trust a computer to drive a car completely, there's still that pedestrian assumption that it's not going to be fully integrated yet. So you might not even know if it's a person or a robot driving the car. So we do have to teach them very human decisions, and the only way to do that is en masse connectivity.
I think the other thing there is also that, again, where computing has this big impact on the world is that, remember some students once just getting a lecture, and they were sort of saying, well, it's not a big issue, is it? I mean, it is, because you'll be coding that behaviour for all of these things. So as a driver, I might make my choice myself, and I'll justify it possibly in court, but I'll justify it for my own self. If you're building the system and selling it, you're making a decision for many people.
Yeah.
and your company will be in court, or you'll be in court, to say, well, why did your car decide that it would drive off and hit this group? And is there a reason for that? And that's kind of this thing we're looking at, trying to help people understand the choices they're making. Again, one of the things is we're not telling you what to think. That's up to you. But we're saying,
protect
here's a
yourself a lot
framework
better.
to think about it and be aware of it.